All right, it's the third week of football. It's time for my fifth favorite pregame show. Oh, damn it, there goes the drink. It's Serena and Kevin. Let's go.
Stop giving your dog vodka. Welcome, hello to another Pregaming. I'm Serena Morales. That is my friend and co-host, Kevin Klein, and that was his blind little dog. Too much vodka for the little thing.
We said the show needed more star power. I was thinking they were going to bring on like an NFL great, like most of the other pre-shows have, but we just got a geriatric dog that we had to pry with booze just to agree to do the show with us. Here's the good news, guys. Only 17 dogs were injured in the making of that pre-show video. So for the most part, if you're an animal lover, fear not. We've got everything you need to enjoy all of your pre-gaming today, minus the food that you'll have to make for yourself. We will have the opinions. We will have the experts. We are drinking ourselves right now, nursing last night's hangover, and I can't wait to get into all the action we have in store for you today.
Get all of the dogs watching. Share the alcohol with your fellow furry friend. We are here every Sunday. Before the Sunday slate of games, we have our friends Jack Settleman of Snapback Sports. He'll be making an appearance along with our favorite gambling experts. We got Katie Mox and the father of Thor, another dog father, Kenny Betts Big.
And we don't know where Kenny is. We were told that Kenny is not in America. We don't know if he is running from the authorities. We don't know if there's an angry bookie that's chasing him. We do know that he will be joining our show. I think this makes this week's show our first truly international edition of Pregaming. So that will be very exciting. Hopefully you are back for another week. If you're brand new to the show, it's good to have you on board. As you know, most of the pregame shows are bullshit. It's a lot of guys that like to play with numbers and give you stats that don't really matter about a play that happened 17 seasons ago and how that could be affecting a random tight end's foot today. That's all bullshit. We give it to you straight. Hopefully you make some money, but you will guaranteed have a damn good time with us. And so that's why we're here, and we appreciate you starting early with us today because we've been up for hours drinking and talking about today's games.
Have you even slept? I didn't sleep. Well, I'm just like working through this sucker. I woke up like this yesterday.
Yeah,
All
been
right.
Serena's from the Bronx, so she was born with those earrings. Just so you know, she was born with those things. Came right out. Boom. Oh yes, you're at the perfect place for this. We will be busting balls and busting bookies, and that is what it is all about on today's edition, of course, of Pregaming. And if you got questions for us about specific bets that you think you want to place today, get them to us. Hit us up because at the end of the show, before we get out of here, we will make sure to throw all of your important questions to our cappers that we have on the show, our gambling insiders, our NFL insiders, and of course me, your run-of-the-mill degenerate.
Don't sell yourself too big, okay? Let's bring your dog back in. Let's kick things off with our 2-minute drill, go over what's going on in the NFL, a few of the big storylines that will affect the day ahead. I want to know, should we have any faith in these 0-2 teams? You got the Jets, the Jags, Falcons, Giants, Vikings, Colts, and Lions. Sorry, Lions. It's not a great list, I got to tell you, Kevin. Should we even think that they're going to... One of them has to win because the Giants are playing the Falcons today. So one, by default of how it works, has to win.
Well, you say that, although it wouldn't be crazy if that game ended at the end of overtime with a 0-0 tie. I could see that happening as well. Somehow the teams remain winless. You know, it's funny that you start with, are these 0-2 teams going to do anything? Should we just go ahead and close the book on them? And then you come out of the gate with the Jets. I believe last week, quarterback threw 4 picks. This week, they weren't even playing. I think he threw another 6 picks between games. So I look forward to seeing my expectations are pretty low on every team on that list, except I still feel that the Falcons have an ability to somehow do something at some point. I don't know when that'll be. Maybe it'll be today. That's the only team you mentioned that I could see somehow turning this around into a winning season, and I'm sure that our cappers will tell me I'm an idiot for saying that. I think the more interesting thing right now, though, is all of the big line movement that's happened. You talk about what I'm interested in. there's about 3 or 4 games where the line has shifted. Is 5 points, 7 points, 10 points, especially as it pertains to overs and unders. You got the Ravens-Lions game. It opened at 43.5 as an over-under. That shifted now to 50.5. That's a 7-point move. You got the Packers and the Niners. That's another 5-point shift in line, and all moving upwards, which means the public is loving overs. You got Chargers-Chiefs open at 46.5. It is now at 54.5. 10 points.
There's
So
no
I look at it,
defense in the
Serena.
league.
No. Well, look, I just go, people love rooting for points. They love touchdowns. They think there's going to be a lot of shootouts. The public is big on overs this week, so be aware of that.
Well, we're going to wrap this up, our 2-minute drill. Cheers to that. I love a good defensive game, but I think I'm just here by myself with my solo cup. Let's, with that, welcome in Jack Settlement of Snapback Sports. You've seen him on the Game Day with his Ride with Jack series. He's joining us today to talk a little Week 3 action. Jack, what's going on, my friend?
What's going on, people? I love the energy. It's early. Aren't you on the West Coast, too? How are you so excited?
Where
right
are
now?
we? We don't even know where we are. We're just dancing and grooving, Jack.
It's 4 a.m. right now where we are. We are we're time traveling back. By the way, I just won my overbet. I just won my overbet on the size of Jack's headphones, so I'm very excited about that.
Let's go. That's huge. That is huge.
All right, Jack, for our 6-pack, I'm going to throw 6 topics at you to discuss. So let's get this rolling. Our beloved Lions, they're taking on your actual favorite team, the Ravens. What do you like here in this game?
I believe we are going to finally get a very calm and relaxed Ravens game. I've been at the last 2, the Vegas Monday night game, overtime, crazy, and the game after that last Sunday against the Chiefs. So 1 o'clock should be chill. Ravens should control the pace, run the ball, and if you want your fantasy catchers from the Lions side and your rushers from the Ravens side, I think the Ravens will roll comfortably in this game.
Jack, we were talking just before we brought you on about how the over-under line in this one has shifted quite a bit, right? It's moved 7 points up to over 50 now. You think it's going to be a slower paced, but running game, which would lead me to believe that the clock runs a little quicker, and perhaps there's not going to be as many points. Do you think the public is wrong on this one if they want to play over-under on this particular game?
I think there was a ton of a ton of reaction to the Ravens' front 4 defensive line, all on the COVID reserve list. So that helped pop the line up a little bit. But I think the line's appropriate, and it'll come down to, can the Lions push it over with a backdoor cover late in the game? So I don't hate it. I don't love it. I would stay away from it. I would probably look at what the score is at halftime and make a judgment from there.
Right, whatever it is at halftime, the Lions will win and then lose this game, because at least we've seen that trend all season long into week 2. All right, switching to another very exciting 0-2 Jets. They're going to take on the Broncos. You have your eye on tailback KJ Hamler for a prop and a fantasy bet.
This is my big-time money shot of the day. KJ Hamler to get loose once behind that awful Jet. You know what? I don't want to hate on the Jets fully, but the Jets stink. And while the Broncos will run the ball a ton in this game, should lead from start to finish, I think this is the game that Hamler hits his deep shot. You can take him in fantasy as a flyer. You can really take him at the books if you like Hamler to score a touchdown, his over receiving yards. I love everything KJ Hamler tonight.
You know, when you said the Jets stink, I believe that's plagiarism from the speech that the coach will be giving before the game today. I think that's straight up what he says. Just so you guys know, when going into this game, everyone says we stink. So either use that as motivation or just continue fulfilling this prophecy.
It's unfortunate for the Jets. I will say this, all 4 of Zach Wilson's interceptions last week came when he was not under pressure. So, I mean, if you're going to get pressured by the Broncos defense with Von Miller, this could be really just exciting for the Jets quarterback. That's what I have to say there. All right, moving on. Saints, Pats. We've got a matchup this weekend at Foxborough, New England strong. You think the Pats and Mac Jones should be worried about the Saints?
I do. I really do. And this starts with the conversation around Rookie of the Year. And Wilson, he's been awful, as we just talked about. And Lawrence has thrown a bunch of picks too, but he's in a tough spot. Fields steps in today in a tough spot. He's a 7-point dog on the road. And all the conversation is now Mac Jones is the Rookie of the Year favorite. Literally in Vegas, he is the Rookie of the Year favorite. He's thrown a single touchdown pass this season. I think it's time to pump the brakes. For me, it's a time to get into Fields, get into Lawrence for Rookie of the Year bets. But I'm now starting today by riding the Saints. The Saints struggled last week against the Panthers defense, but the Patriots have not done anything. They scored 16 in week 1 against Miami. They were not good against the Jets last week. They just were lucky that Wilson thought they were on the same team. So I love the Saints this week. I love Mac Jones. He's not going to throw 4 picks, but he's also a game manager at this point. That's what Bill likes to do. It's a 3-point spread. That, to me, says Saints are going to win in Foxborough.
This is an interesting one because this opened as a pick'em. This was a pick'em, and then it shifted quite a bit. So as you said, now it's 3. They've moved an entire field goal, and I think that the dumb money. Look, it's very easy. I know because I've lost a lot of the dumb money. Jack's more of a smart money kind of guy. That's why he's got all that extra NFT money to invest, etc. He's probably a crypto billionaire behind the scenes. But the reality is this: public moves lines more than. And actually, I'd like your take on this, Jack. I would say the public moves the lines way more than actual things involving with the team, right? The public are really the line shifter. So when this one moves 3, all of a sudden people start going, well, the Saints, they're probably not what we thought they could be after week 1, because as we saw last week, and this is where I have egg on my face, their quarterback didn't show up. So
yes, to answer your question, absolutely. And the books set the lines, right? That's where the sharp money is, and they set it at even. And then the public hammers any Bill Belichick team at home under a field goal, especially overreacting, right? Patriots huge win last week, Saints huge loss. Saints didn't have their coaches. Their water boy was, I think, the head coach for last week's game. Let them get their coaching staff back, and I think they're going to win in New England.
Hydration, H2O numero uno. I will say, if it's a 3-point spread, the Saints have the best special teams group in the league. There's something to be said there. So also Mac Jones, 0 interceptions. So to your point, Jack, he doesn't throw the ball away, although he just doesn't throw the ball anywhere. So it's here nor there. Either way, later on in LA, another huge game everyone has their eyes on. You have an interesting stat about number 99, Aaron Donald, and how this might affect the outcome.
Well, it is finally time for the best player in football to take down the best player of all time. Aaron Donald's faced off with Tom Brady a bunch of times, including a Super Bowl, which the Rams lost. He's never gotten to TB12. And Tom Brady is 4th in the league in getting the ball out of his hands, and he's handsome, and he's got the beautiful wife. And you want to talk about billionaires? I think they might be trillionaires down in South Florida. But I love the Rams in this game. Dallas probably should have beaten Tampa in week 1. Tampa took care of a horrible Falcons team in week 2. And the Rams just a couple years ago were in that Super Bowl against Tom Brady with Jared Goff. Now they have a guy who looks past 4 yards down the field. Sean McVay is back. And at home in the new stadium, I absolutely love the Rams to win this game, topped off with an Aaron Donald sack on Tom Brady.
Serena, who is our NFL insider, obviously was able to witness some Rams practice this week live and in the flesh. So she actually got to see. She was coming back talking about, I was watching the players stretch. Even just that bit of inside information. Serena, what can you add to what Jack just told us about today's game? I think a lot of people think it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a shootout, but he's very confident on the Rams. Do you get that from just the working out you saw?
Even Aaron Donald smiling, to me, you should be scared of him. Like the warm-ups, I don't think Aaron Donald realizes his strength. He's like a smaller, if you saw him in person, he's a lot smaller. I say this with air quotes. He is bigger than the, average person like myself, but the warm-ups were them like throwing their hands to choke the offensive lineman. They were doing it to each other. And I'm just like, I literally said to AD, I was like, yo, don't hurt your teammate, bruh. And he was like, ha 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 ha. And I'm like, okay, you're going to win the game. That's it. Now, I will say the defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris, has a long history with the Buccaneers. He was the head coach in 2009, 2010. There's a lot of familiarity with this team. They know Tom Brady. And it's about time that AD gets some sacks. Also, Jordan Fuller, second-year player for the Rams as a safety. When you think about, is the secondary strong enough to stop Tom Brady and all of the weapons he has on offense? Jordan Fuller picked Tom Brady twice as a rookie last season. He is now a captain. The Rams also got the win last year. So this will be a good one. But speaking of the Rams-Bucks, Bruce Arians, Sean McVay, two of the best coaches in the NFL. But you don't want to... This isn't about them. This is about bad coaches, right? There are some bad coaches in the NFL. What is up with that, Jack?
The coaches are still living in 1984. They own no Bitcoin. They own no NFTs. And they're still punting on 4th and 1 at midfield. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And today, we present you the worst coaching matchup in NFL history between the Arizona Cardinals and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Urban Meyer, glorified college legend, comes to the NFL, and apparently Jags players hated him after like 2 practices. Not a great sign. And in Arizona, Cliff Kingsbury, he went like 7-5 over 4 years with Patrick Mahomes. Do you know how impressive that is to lose 5 games a year with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback? Then he jumps to the NFL, and he's got Kyler Murray. He's the top quarterback in the league so far this year. And they are 2-0. I understand. Should have lost to the Vikings last week. And now they're playing on the road, traveling across the country. This is the most set up spot for, if anyone besides Urban Meyer in the world was the coach for Jacksonville, I would bet my entire Bitcoin portfolio on the Jags. But Urban Meyer is the coach, so I kind of like the Jags a little less, but I still do like the Jags. I think they have a chance to win the game outright today.
I'd like to throw my third-grade T-ball coach into the mix. Worst coach ever. A guy showed up at a game and forgot all of our equipment. So that was pretty bad. I agree. It's interesting how you start seeing – we shouldn't be talking about coaches who are already potentially going to lose their job as we are entering, the third Sunday of the NFL season. But it does feel when they're making these very safe calls, like the sometimes not even 4th and 1. Sometimes it's 4th and inches. And they're going, just send out the kicking team. It's because they fear that if they don't get that, they're done. They are in the unemployment line. And that is why you're seeing a lot of that. I like the big, bold coaches. I think by now we've all read the article, seen the story about the Harvard professor who broke it down and said, realistically, no team should ever punt. Punting over the long time, not punting, going for it on every 4th down, no matter what your field position. If you consistently do that, if you stick with it every time, you will be better off than ever punting. And I think I speak for all parties involved when I say, let's eliminate punting from the NFL altogether.
I love the kickers, but I might be with it. And special shout out, because I gave so much love to Urban Meyer and Cliff Kingsbury. Special shout out to Matt Nagy, who drafted a quarterback in the 1st round, but has to hold on to Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton has to be hurt before he plays the guy. So special shout out to horrible coaching in Chicago.
They don't get enough love. I mean, we usually hate on them, but I feel like we've just been so positive about all of it. Shout out to Cliff Kingsbury, who I feel is sort of like, I'm trying to get to the cool kids table with Sean McVay and, the 49ers, like LaFleur and Packers. Like, they've got this cool little, hey, I brought my lunch. And then here comes Cliff just like with his Lunchables, and it's tough. It's a tough.
Well, the problem, guys, is that historically, traditionally, the winning coaches get Gatorade poured upon them. It's very celebratory. It means you're a good coach. We need to come up with a disgusting thing that gets poured on terrible coaches at the end of the game, and maybe they won't be such bad coaches, huh?
That's a great
idea.
Spicy mustard.
I love that.
I was thinking milk.
I like
spicy mustard.
I was thinking mayo and milk.
Spicy mustard. Get me a hot dog here. Okay, finally, looking ahead, Monday night, NFC East. What can you tell me about Dak versus Jalen? Let's go.
I think this is going to be a super fun game. It is still the NFC least, don't get it twisted, but the Cowboys really impressive through 2 games. They've gone on the road and they should have won week 1, and they squeaked out a win in week 2 against a really good Chargers team. So I was not very high on the Cowboys coming in just because it didn't feel like they shored up any of the back half of that defense. But Dak looks fully healthy. Those weapons he has look amazing. Another special shout out, Mike McCarthy. Horrible coach alert. In Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, great in week 1, struggled in week 2. They're the question mark because their roster is good enough to where if he plays out of his mind, they can dominate teams. And when he's not good, they're not going to be good. So I think this is an early season indicator of where that division is going to go. I think Dallas is going to win the game. I like all their guys in fantasy on Monday night. And Cowboys probably cover that spread as well.
Yeah, right now it's 3.5. You think that spread is going to move at all? We got about 24 hours to go until that game, a little more. I think there will be movement. My question is, does it go down to 3? Does it go up to 4? Where do you see it?
So you have the battle of the greatest fan bases in football, not because they're good people, not because they're fun, not because they've enjoyed any winning success, but they are the rowdiest group of people you may ever see. So Eagles fans will probably push that thing down to 3, and then Cowboys bettors will probably push that thing up to 4. If you like the Eagles in the game, I agree. There will be a spot for 4. And if you like the Cowboys, you can probably find a 3 at some point over the next 30 hours. So there will be movement, as we talked about with the public. I like the Cowboys. Wait for the 3, get that line, and cash out on D-Town.
Yeah, I mean, what you're gonna like have Nick Sirianni, run a Philly special, and what happens there? Like, there's no Philly, there's no special. Although, to your point, Jack, anyone who watched Hard Knocks confirmed Mike McCarthy. There's so much candy at training camp. Bro, the whole point of training camp is to prepare your body for the season. Dak Prescott is literally turning into a Sour Patch Kid as we watch the entire series. It's too much. Either way, that'll be an interesting matchup, at least from a gambling perspective. Maybe not for the viewership, although if you're trying to watch 2 coaches, Monday night is for you, my friend. Jack, appreciate you joining us today for our 6-pack. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much, guys. Have fun.
Thanks, Jack. In the
Kevin,
time that we just
how
chatted,
are we feeling?
His crypto portfolio went up like $4 billion just in that little chat we had with him. So he's doing well. Let's bring in our experts now. We've got our capper, as you know. Kenny bets big on the phone. I don't know what country he's in. We're going to find out in a moment. I think he looks like he could be incarcerated right now, so we'll get to the bottom of that. And of course, Katie Mox, who knows everything there is to know about gambling, especially as it pertains to her San Francisco 49ers. Welcome back again, friends. Let's not make fun of each other for terrible calls we made last week. Let's look forward into today's games.
It's easy for you
we
to
won't
say.
bring that up. Won't bring it up at all, Kevin. We'll just pass that until we recall what bad bets Kevin made. Either way, Katie, I want to start with you with our over-under. Katie, you have a couple totals this week you like. What are a couple games that we should watch over the weekend?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, good morning, everybody. Happy to be here with you again on the best day of the week, Sundays during football season. And yes, Serena, you're right. I am looking at some totals right now. The Chiefs and the Chargers, I took the over 54.5. Chargers, of course, they've piled up a lot of yards this season, but it hasn't really translated into a lot of points. They only have about 37 points to show for it right now. Chiefs, of course, coming off of that tough loss, close loss in Baltimore. But look, they have had totals in the 60s in their first 2 games. Chargers defense, 7th best in the league. And look, they held Washington football team to only 16 points. They held Dallas, a high-powered offense, to only 20. But I think Justin Herbert has got to get out there and really elevate his pass game if he wants to keep up with Patrick Mahomes, which is why I'm taking the over 54.5 in this game.
Katie, let me ask you, because we were just chatting about this with Jack, and this was kind of my take in the 2-minute drill earlier in the show. The biggest over-under line shift of the week was this game, maybe of the season, to be honest. 10-point shift, opened at 46.5. Now it's at 54.5, which means obviously the public agrees with you. They love the over. I love the over, but I hate the public. So if you're torn like I am right now, you still feel strongly like when you say it's going over, you think it's going over into the 60s? You think it's going over like we're going to be sweating it out and clinching our butt cheeks up until the last play?
Well, look, I mean, I think if the first two Chief games went over 60 points, if the line didn't move, I'd probably be more concerned about that. I mean, the Bucks obviously want to keep things a little bit closer than that. I don't think it's going to be in the 40s. I mean, that's crazy with these two high-powered offenses. And yeah, the public's been taking a beating recently. But look, the public is not always wrong, so I'm still sticking by this.
Kenny, you have any thoughts on this game? I mean, to be quite honest, Katie, I have to agree with you because I feel like the Chargers just have way too many penalties, which has really cost them 2 touchdowns called back on penalties, which to your point would add to that over. Kenny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Katie. I think the over has a very strong possibility of going over. I like the Chargers here +7. I think 7 is just way too many points for a very good Chargers team. Coming into the year, we heard about how Justin Herbert, is the next big quarterback to, the NFL has. But they didn't talk too much about the Chargers defense. And this Chargers defense looks pretty legit so far 2 games through the season. So, yeah, I think 7 points in a division game is too many points. I love the Chargers here +7.
Yeah, they're getting Joey Bosa back. He is listed as questionable. However, I did get to go to Chargers practice as well as Rams practice this week. And Joey Bosa was on the sideline working out. I know this is all I do. I just stay in a computer screen and then I
How
go
many
and watch
players
practice.
are you currently dating, Serena? Jesus.
All of them. All of the water boy. Come on. I thought
all of the single ones. All of the single one.
The water boy. All right.
Love that.
Katie, you also have Washington Bills at 45.5. You taking the over under here?
I'm taking the under on this one. Look, we've got 2 really strong defenses here. Washington football team, the second best defense in the league, but they still have a backup quarterback. So I'm not putting a whole lot of weight on him. Obviously, the under is 4-1 in the Bills' previous 5 games as a favorite. The under is also 5-1 in the football team's last 6 games after allowing 350 total yards in the previous game. Look, Washington let Danny Dimes get 29 points on them. They're going to have to play a lot better today, and I think they're going to clamp down. Obviously, the Bills at home too. That's kind of a tough place to play. Very, very loud crowd. So I'm going with the under on this one.
Katie, you're locked in this week on the over-unders, which I love. What's the over-under on how many months before they allow Kenny back in this country?
I think, you know what? You're giving Kenny a lot of slack right now, but he's an upstanding citizen and he will be allowed back upon entry.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that.
Wow. Are you allowed to
legal
make
defense
any,
also?
Yes, I am also
Legally blonde?
Legally
Yeah,
blonde.
there we
Hey,
go.
Don't count us
Well
out.
done, Kenny.
Does the Mexican border give you any insight into Katie's game at all, or on Washington? I don't. Do we have no faith in our backup quarterbacks?
I mean,
Yeah, so like Kevin, I've been, wandering around the Playa del Carmen the past few days, and I've just been overhearing a lot. A lot of it is in a different language, so I don't really understand much. But what I have been hearing is that everyone loves the over in this game. So I am with Katie in the greens here on the under. 2 weeks now, I've been tooting the horn of saying Josh Allen is very overrated. So yeah, I think he's going to go up against a very elite Washington football team that is hungry for a win. So I think they're going to keep this game very close. I think the Bills will probably get the win here. But yeah, I think this game will stay under and probably be like a 20-14 type of game.
I love it. I like it more on the same side.
I think
Makes you feel better, Kenny.
My bold call,
you're
guys, that you will not like.
King, or I should say queen of the totals. So I'm following you here. That's your thing.
All right, let's go.
You guys
baby.
will rub this in my face next week, but I'm going to say right now, I like Washington on the money line to win this game. I've got some, as you know, I'm from the D.C. area. I've talked to some people. I called my old butcher, who's in Kensington, Maryland, and I said, "What's the haps? What do you know what's going on?" I'm telling you right now when I say this, please don't believe anything else I say. Washington to win the game on the money line. I think that would turn your 100 into like a plus 235. I think I saw that at. So I like that a lot, and I'm a big fan, and I do believe that they are hungry for a win, and the team isn't as bad as their record indicates right now.
No one likes Josh Allen. What happened? I thought he was a good. What is going on?
I like Josh
Kenny,
Allen. I'm still a Bills believer. I'm leaning on that the Bills are going to win this game.
just question marks. All right, Kenny. You just keep sipping on some tequila because we want to get to a pair of underdogs. You have Colts, Titans. Josh Allen doesn't play for either of these teams, so this will be better for you.
Yeah, no Josh Allen in this one. We do have Carson Wentz, who reports are that he is going to suit up for this one. I know he is suffering through the ankle injuries, but he's going to grit it out. And, this is a must-win game for this Colts team. 27% of the tickets and 55% of the handle are on the Colts to cover the spread. So what does that tell you? It means that the people that, are in the know, that lay down bigger money, bigger bets, are hammering the Colts here. You guys know I love a good road underdog, especially coming off a loss. And the Colts on the spread are just too juicy to pass up here today. Over the last 10 seasons, 0-2 teams are 14-5-1 against the spread in division games in week 3. So, you follow that, you're up a ton of money. And yeah, the Colts here are a great bet. I love the Colts.
Last week on this very show, right around this exact time a week ago, there was a lot of talk of how can the Colts even put up any points at all. I said I thought they would easily put up at least 21. I believe the people, I heard the word idiot, I heard the word is Klein drunk already, etc. And then I watched them before my very eyes put up 24 last week. So I feel that once again, they are proving that they can put up points. I love that, Kenny. I don't like to ever say I agree with you and I love what you're saying, but I love everything you just said.
Yeah,
well, that makes me feel a lot better. And
Yeah.
I noticed the guy with 3 names isn't on this week's show. Is it because he owes you $100?
Yeah, guys disappear. He should be the one in another country right now, huh?
You're gonna have to get that dog after him.
Whew.
Katie, Carson Wentz said he was throwing the kitchen sink at his ankles. I don't know if that helps fix ankle injuries, but apparently we have more.
I don't
faith
think it
in
does,
Carson
but
Wentz.
Yep, sorry. I don't think it does, but I do know that everything but the kitchen sink cookies are very good. So that could be something that he puts into play here. But I agree with Kenny on this one. I was worried about the quarterback situation. The last time that I had heard, reportedly, they were going to have 2 backups kind of rotating. So if Carson Wentz is playing, I like that. I do think that the Titans probably win this game, even though I agree with Kenny that the Colts will cover the spread, just because these 2 teams end up splitting wins and usually at home. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with the Colts +6 on this.
Yeah, the Titans, don't have the greatest defense. We've seen that, play out well. So if Carson can even just stand still, not use his ankles, stand in a kitchen sink while on the field and throw a few, it should help. Although Derrick Henry does lead the league in rushing through 2 weeks, and that'll be difficult. I don't play football in real life, but, when I play it on my TV using my thumbs, I like Derrick Henry a lot. Either way, we'll move on. Kenny, we got
reminder
Falcons.
quickly, if you do have questions of games that we are not covering, you can get them to us. You can put them in the comments below. You can hit us on the Twitter, Instagram as well. DM any of us individually. We will get to the Q&A rapid fire at the end of this. So if it's a bet you're thinking about putting in, but you're like back and forth, you've got the experts here. You've got the insiders, NFL insider Serena. You got, of course, Kenny Bets Big, who is currently in an entire villa to himself in Mexico. That's how his week went last week. He's enjoying the villa life. And, of course, Katie Mox, who knows pretty much everything there is to know about gambling. So you've got a lot of experts here, and me as well. So get those questions to us, and we will try to squeeze them in before we get out of here and get into the actual games.
Slide into Kevin's DMs. That's all I heard from everything he just said. So just ping him. That's great. You take it all. Okay. We got Falcons, Giants.
Yeah, this is another one. The Falcons are not only 0-2 record-wise, but they're 0-2 against the spread so far on the season. So everyone probably initially looks at this game saying, auto fade the Falcons. They're a terrible team this year. But not so fast. It's actually a great spot to back Atlanta here because teams that start the season 0-2 against the spread have gone on to cover the spread in week 3 60% of the time. Plus, the Giants stink. Daniel Jones stinks, and Daniel Jones for his career at MetLife is 4-10 against the spread. So we've all heard that sometimes the New York media and playing in New York is just too big for certain people. And I think Daniel Jones is one of those guys. So I love Atlanta here, +3. And I would even sprinkle them on the money line because they're another team that's desperate for a win.
Yeah, I feel like there's a couple of underdogs that you could get on the money line and get some good value today. I mean, I was just obviously chatting about my thoughts on Washington a moment ago, but I actually think Atlanta's another one of those squads. They're such a hateable. I don't know if I feel this way. I've always felt that there's certain teams when I gamble on, I get super angry, more angry. Looking at Matt Ryan when you need him to perform, when you have money on Atlanta, and he does. There's something about that face. It's like, does he not understand that I also have $75 riding on this game? It bothers me. Yet more than probably any other team, to be completely honest. Other teams I lose money on, I go, well, I kind of knew that going in. Atlanta, for some reason, it's hard. They're hard to figure out because they can put plays together, drives together, where they look like they're as good as any team in the league, and then you see what you've kind of seen a lot of this season. It's the inconsistency that throws me off. That's the hardest thing to even put money on. That's why, like, for me, this would be a stay away game. But I like the confidence you're bringing to it. Katie, any follow up thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with you, Kevin. I'm staying away from this game. Obviously, Kenny putting some real good logic into it, kind of convincing me. But like you said, Matt Ryan just freaks me out. I mean, what did he throw? A pair of pick sixes to the same guy in the fourth quarter of the last game? So he is a big question mark. I agree with everything that Kenny said about the Giants. The one thing I will say, and I don't know what the prop bet is, but Daniel Jones has been crushing his rushing prop. So I would maybe look into that one. And then, yeah, I'll ride with you on this one, Kenny, but it scares me.
Guys, the Falcons' defense is horrendous. Makes you question whether or not the Eagles are actually good. The Giants cost themselves the game with penalties. Daniel Jones had no turnovers. I call this man an apple turnover. No turnovers. I think this is obviously it's a must-win. You're 2-0-2 team. So what are we doing here? But the Giants just seem to be a better team. They have a defense that the Falcons do not have. Also, Kyle Pitts is not going to save this poor Falcons offense. I'm sorry. If you love Matty Ice, that's one thing, but that guy needs people to throw to, and I don't necessarily think I've seen it as an 0-2 squad. Either way, that's here nor there. Kevin, you also have a game you would like to discuss. I am very excited. It's not even a night game. This is just a random afternoon.
It's not a random game, though. I think it is the game of the week by far. It's happening 11 miles from where I sit right now. And, of course, we're talking about the Bucs and the Rams. I mean, this is an exciting game. It is the talk of town where stars are made and stars are born every single day. This is such an interesting one. Talked a lot about, people think it'll be an explosion of points. You'll see some very strong offensive teams battling it out. Of course, Tom Brady, superstar that he is. I am fascinated by the fact that Bruce Arians switched the flight of the team. They were supposed to get in, I think, on Friday. I think he switched it to them getting in yesterday, which I find to be a very questionable move. Whenever I've had a flight changed on me or delayed, I'm just in a nasty mood for a while. It seems crazy that they would do that. I don't know if either of our insiders have any light to shed on this, but it seemed like, why are you doing that? What would be the reason that a coach would make that move? And is that going to affect the line going into the game? We heard earlier from Jack, he feels strongly about the Rams, not only covering, but, by a lot. I think he thinks the Rams are going to destroy in this one. I think a lot of people have learned the lesson. You never bet against Brady. It's one of those ones where if you bet against Brady, you're like, why would I do this to myself? I guess we'll start with you, Kenny. Thoughts on this one, knowing that the travel plans have been adjusted?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Obviously, it is kind of weird. Like, why would they do that? But this team returned all 22 starters. It's a very heavy veteran team. They have Tom Brady at the helm, right? Anyone who's been following me for any bit of time knows, obviously, I'm a Patriots fan, but I'm the biggest Tom Brady fan. I was on record last season, pretty much the whole season, saying the Bucs are winning the Super Bowl. And yeah, this game, the line is screaming the Rams. Like, as a sharp bettor, looking at it, you look at it and you think you got to take the Rams here. But like you mentioned earlier, where the Falcons are a team that you bet on and you get mad at yourself if they lose, if you bet against Tom Brady and you lose, you're kind of kicking yourself in the ass. Like, what was I doing? This, especially here, like they're minus 115. Like this, I'm in my mindset for this game is, listen, I'm betting the Bucks. If I lose, I'm fine with it, because if I bet the Rams and the Bucks come out and win, I would be so pissed.
You're watching, by the way, Pregaming with Kevin, Kenny, Katie, Serena. Katie, want to get your thoughts, because this could have been a nightcap game. We could have been really excited about it, but instead we've got a wonderful afternoon 125 kickoff for Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford.
Yes, like Kevin said, I think this is really the game of the week. And, you know, of all the teams that are 2-0, the Rams are the only underdog on the spread in this one. All the other 2-0 teams, of course, are favorites. And like Kenny said, like I learned my lesson in the Super Bowl about betting against Tom Brady. And the Rams look great, but have they really been tested? I mean, they've gone against the Bears and then the Colts. This is going to be their first really big test. And like Kenny said, like when I bet against Tom Brady, like I did in the Super Bowl, you just feel like an idiot. So if you bet with Tom Brady and you lose, it's okay. If you bet against him, you're like, what was I thinking? So totally riding with the Bucks on this one.
It's interesting because Tom Brady, you don't bet against Tom Brady if he doesn't have Bill Belichick. So we're just like, Bruce Arians, you've got a decent, mustache going. I don't know. It to me, it just has too much sun in Tampa Bay weather. Also, to your guys' point about, Kevin, you brought this up about flying. Reggie Scott, the vice president of sports medicine and performance at the Rams, actually, I think, started this trend where teams, instead of flying a full day before, so they'd fly Friday for a Sunday game, they started doing some research, and your body doesn't need to adjust right away. It actually is better for the body to adjust if you just shock it, go there, no sleep, you can perform better. It's the second day that hits you. So you'll see a lot more teams, I think, picking up this trend of, we'll fly the day before the game, even if there's a time change or whatever, just because your body's already going to go through shock with the game and it'll automatically turn on. So you don't actually need that adjustment day to fix for your time zone.
Wow.
Also, if you want to experience travel shock, just go fly Spirit Airlines. You'll experience travel shock as well in a totally different way. So you can enjoy that. I want you to see this, though, guys. These were the seats that were offered to me for the game today, okay? I'm just showing you these.
Wow.
Look at those seats. Those were the seats. You know where I'm going to be after the show today? I got to go to Disneyland. So I, unfortunately, am passing up
I love Disneyland.
these seats. These seats. I'm passing up these seats. So I already have lost today. I've already lost. Today I'm the loser already going
have
into
won.
today. Yes, that's
Your
true.
kids have won.
My kids have won, and I have lost, and my wallet has lost.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
Disney
God.
is expensive. But you'll have a great day.
So who did you like in this game, Kevin?
Listen, I do believe that the Rams are going to win the game. I also, my big pick on this one is, and it's just going under. I just think everyone is screaming is going to be a shootout. They believe it's going to be 21 points per quarter put up there. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is going to be one of those games that everyone goes, I thought it was going to be. I mean, I'm looking at all the idiots, and we're going to talk about how there's a million pregame shows. Everyone's got experts, insiders, and I just watch them going over, shootout, over. I think there's going to be somewhere
in the
in the
NFL
40...
this season?
Yeah, I have been watching it. But
Over,
this is one of those
shootout.
You're right. And I think that everyone is expecting it. And always right around week 3 is when you think you figured it out. Week 3 is the week where you're like, all right, now I feel like I figured it out. I start to feel a little bit more confident putting in a bet, going like, all right, maybe they don't put up 60 points, but they at least put up 55 and cover. And then all of a sudden you look at it and you go into the half, and the line is like, the score at the half is like 10 to 6 or something. You go, that wasn't supposed to happen. That's weird. And then all of a sudden you get a few points in the third quarter, and then they run it a lot in the fourth, and you go final score, 21 to 14, and it's under by like a touchdown or two, and you're like, God, why did I fall for that scam, that trap? So I'm just saying avoid it. I'm heavy on the under. I've got the under in this game locked into a few teases. I've got the under in this game straight up. I love the under in this one, just strictly based on going against everyone else.
All right. Well, I'm so glad this is recorded.
One thing that's pretty interesting too is like, why is this not the Sunday night football game? This is probably going to be one of the best games all season.
Yeah.
It's because they're capped at 5 primetime games, I think. I was trying to think about it, but because Rams and Buccaneers both have 5, they couldn't move him into the primetime spot, because then you'd be America's team, who always had themselves on TV. So I believe that is why they didn't get to push this game to the night game. But although, speaking of night game, there is a decent night game. You've got Aaron Rodgers heading over to, oh, there you go, Katie. Yeah, to the Bay. And I don't know, Aaron Rodgers could have played for the 49ers, which is pretty interesting considering Kyle Shanahan, failed it yet twice now. To me, look, they expect the Niners to win. They're at -3. The Niners, to me, look, Kyle Shanahan, he owns the Packers. 2016, 2019 Sunday Night Football, 2020 NFC Championship. The Niners, although they do have some dinged-up running backs, to me, are going to run all over the Packers. They have a better offensive line. They're ranked 9th on PFF heading into the season. The Packers' defensive line, not great. Zadarius Smith, he's now out too. I just think that the Packers, you had a close game to the Lions. Sorry, Lions, but this game seems to be, I would give the Niners that -3. I think they cover. Kenny, what do you got on this game? I mean, you're all the way in Mexico. I want to get Katie's thoughts in a second because I know she's a Niner fan. She won't bet on this game. But, Kenny, I'm sure the breeze from the ocean is telling you something.
Yeah, just like I mentioned, one thing I've learned is you don't bet against Tom Brady. You don't bet against Aaron Rodgers in primetime games. The guy's just an absolute machine. There's been a lot of talk about, does he care about the season? Is he just like looking forward to next year, Jeopardy? There's been a lot of different talks about what the guy's really focused on. And I think we saw last week's second half, he should have put a lot of that, those talks to bed. He still hasn't connected with Devontae Adams for a touchdown. I think he's going to hit him for a touchdown in this game. So I like the Devontae Adams anytime touchdown. I think 3, anytime you get Aaron Rodgers +3, I would buy it up to 3.5 just to get the hook. But yeah, I like the Packers here in this spot.
All right, well, this is the second week now that Kenny has faded the Niners. It didn't work out too well last week. But look,
No,
obviously, as Karina said, I don't bet on these games. But I will say that Aaron Rodgers, I agree with Kenny in that you don't bet against Aaron Rodgers in primetime unless he's playing the Niners, because he can't seem to win against the Niners, certainly not at Levi's. I think the Packers or Rodgers is 0-4-1 at Levi's as an underdog. And I have all the faith in the world with Aaron Rodgers. I have zero faith in that defense, that pass rush. I think it's going to be an easy win for the Niners, and I would take them -3, -3, even though I don't bet on that. But yeah, give me the Niners all day.
Question from the comments about this one, guys. Which Aaron Rodgers shows up tonight? Is the guy from week 1 that looked a little lost, wasn't sure what sport he was actually playing? Is it the MVP that we saw from a season ago? As we mentioned, currently, as of right now, they are 3.5-point dogs. So what say you? Which Rodgers do we get?
I think we're going to see a better Aaron Rodgers. I think that first week was a total fluke. That's not Aaron Rodgers. I think we'll see more of the biggest question mark for me is their defense, not Aaron Rodgers.
Well, it's funny you say that, Serena, because that's going to bring us into our prop bet of the week about Aaron Rodgers. And this is why you talk about distractions. I mean, the guy has been working on his Halloween costume for the last year. This is the big outside the field story. The reason he's growing his hair long is not some sort of superstition. This is not like when the hockey players grow the beards out. He's been working on a Halloween costume for an entire year. You talk about things that are distracting from football. We're starting to get into that time of year where all of a sudden your friend shows up with strange facial hair and you can't figure it out. Let's talk about this. This is the prop, Serena. What do you got for us?
Yeah, we are trying to figure out who is Aaron Rodgers going to be for Halloween. He said, quote, somebody who is a hero of mine who has longish hair. Now, Aaron Rodgers in the past was Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. Clearly has, some hoorah for Halloween. We've all got something. He chooses Halloween. He is going to be married to a Hollywood actor, so I assume they're going to step their game up. I'm going, at least this is a couple's, Halloween costume, but wanted to throw this out as a prop bet. We each guess who he's going to be. Kenny, I'll start with you on your guess on who Aaron Rodgers will be for Halloween.
So this is a real thing. that he's
This
is a
really
real
planning-
thing.
growing his
This
hair
is the
out
only
for a
reason he has
costume?
this hair is for a Halloween
Jeez.
costume.
I mean, the hair is real gross and like it's real like skanky, like white trash looking. I don't know. It kind of looks like reminds me of like Michael Myers hair, right? Like, but I mean that would be too easy. I feel like to be Michael Myers, like that's such an original one. Yeah, I guess Michael Myers.
All right.
Perfect. That's a
I'm
hero
gonna
for
go
him.
with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ because he's kind of giving me that
Oh.
long hair and the beard.
Okay. Okay.
He's the
I
second
feel
coming.
strong
I've
that
got-
he is growing his hair out because he's going to go as pregnant Olivia Munn. Clearly, he's going to go as his impregnated ex-girlfriend. Guys, that's the obvious pick. Who's with me on that one? Come on, seriously.
That's a bold one. That's a bold one.
Bold call.
Does
There's
anyone
been
think
I
he
know
looks
him and
like
Brady have been trolling each other a lot. There was a time where Brady had that long hair too, so I wonder if maybe he's going to do something where he like trolls Brady with a costume.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Yeah, because that was
Yeah.
definitely not Tom Brady's finest haircut.
No.
he could go at his current fiance too, Shailene Woodley, is it? I feel like he looks a little bit like Nicolas Cage, and maybe he does like a Con Air version of Nicolas
Oh.
Cage. There's
Okay.
something that's called. I would never call Nicolas Cage a hero, but we don't know what's going on with Aaron
he
Rodgers.
was a hero in National Treasure, and he was in Con Air. He was a hero in that movie as
He
well.
was
so
the hero.
Gone in
I'm putting
60
my money
seconds,
on
he was
Nicolas
also the
Cage.
hero.
Gee, wow.
He was kind
I
of a
guess
bad guy
I've just
hero,
been
but yeah.
sleeping on Nicolas Cage
Nicolas
all these
Cage.
years.
Well,
That's right.
well,
Nicolas
this
Cage
week
would
it's
be
funny,
mine.
you know. It all comes back to gambling. All comes back to Vegas because this week Nicolas Cage was escorted out of a restaurant in Las Vegas for being incredibly intoxicated. So, just so you know, if you had the over/under at how long he can stay in a restaurant, take the under because it did not go well for Nick Cage. We got some time to go Q&A questions before we lose you guys for the day. So let's get into some of these that have been coming through. As always, we want to hear from you all. This is the interactive pregame show where we not only sit around. I would like to say hello to our Red Cup Army out there. A lot of people in the Red Cup Army drinking along with us. Nothing but the best, obviously. It's a high-budget show. We were told once Kenny wins enough money and once Katie makes enough money, we're going to buy ourselves a nice fancy set. But for right now, clearly, we are all sitting in storage sheds just getting the show off the ground. Let's talk about this one. Guys, question on the comments. Calvin Ridley, under receiving yards. What are you guys' thoughts? It's 81.5 is what the call is right now. I'm on the fence about this bet. This, of course, the Falcons-Giants game. Do you believe that there will be over under 81.5 receiving yards for Calvin Ridley?
I'm going to go over. I don't think he's had a big game yet. Matt Ryan hasn't really clicked yet on offense. So I think this could be a game where we see like a typical Falcons offense where, Matt Ryan drops 3 touchdowns. I love the Kyle Pitts anytime touchdowns prop today. I think it's like plus 220. I think that has a ton of value. So, yeah, I think I like the over there.
I'll agree with it.
Question. Katie, I'm going to give you the next question. But are you a fan of teases? If you are, do you think that there should be? Do you like a 3-game tease, a 4-game tease? Do you have a preference when it comes to teasing, or are you not a fan of the tease?
I'm not really a fan of the teas. I mostly just do like straight up bets. But yeah, I mean, I think sometimes if it's like a heavy favorite, you can kind of tease it in with other things to try to get that down. But for the most part, no, I don't really do teasers.
Stop
Sorry.
teasing her.
I'm just reading the questions. All right, these are people
Yeah.
that slid into my DMs, courtesy of what you had to say.
I love the teasers. Real quick, because I want to touch on that question. The biggest mistake that I see a lot of new bettors make when they do teasers is it's called cross the zeros. So where you'll like tease, like a favorite down to thinking what you're going to get is a better line. And then so oftentimes there'll be that one favorite that loses the game outright. Like last week, it was probably the Saints. Everyone probably had the Saints in a teaser, and it ruined every bet for everyone. Teasing the underdog up is a much more profitable strategy.
Oh, good to know.
Interesting. Good to know. This question is a afternoon game question. Of course, Dolphins and Raiders. And the question, I guess, is an open forum. So we'll go to you, Katie, on this one first. Are the Raiders the real deal as people expect that they are, or is there any reason that this is one of those whoopsies games where the Dolphins get the win?
I'm taking the Raiders on this one. I don't know what exactly the spread is. I wouldn't say that the Raiders are necessarily the real deal, but they've certainly surprised a lot of people, and they're doing better than a lot of people thought that they would do. You know, Gruden actually doing quite well. The Dolphins leave a lot to be desired. Obviously, Tua is still out, right? With his
They have
with his
Jacoby
ribs,
Brissett. Yeah.
Yeah, so give me the Raiders in this one for sure.
3.5 current spread. That moved, opened at 1.5, but favored Raiders favored by
I would still take
3.5
him at
in this
3.5.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the other side there. I saw the line opened at 4, and then even with Tua being announced out, the line has now dropped to 3.5. Public all over the Raiders this week. Obviously, they're 2-0. They had the big win over the Steelers last week, but great look-ahead spot for them. They play the Chargers next week. The Dolphins' defense obviously is very legit. Last week, I know they got beat 35-0, but that was one of like the flukiest games I've seen because the Dolphins had, I think it was like 4 turnovers in the red zone. The defense did everything they could do to keep them in the game up until late. So I think 3.5 is a generous line, especially when you look to last season. This was like the same matchup on the road. Dolphins were 2.5-point favorites over the Raiders. And I don't think there's a huge drop off from Brissett to Brissett.
Final question is not a sports question, but it's what are you all drinking right now during the show? Great question on the comments. Appreciate it. Serena, we'll start with you. What's in that red cup of yours?
There's a liquid form of caffeine and another liquid form that is more of a booster of the caffeine. It's a cocktail. Am I supposed to
GHB,
like? What do
is that
I put? Do I put rum
Two
or?
liquids with caffeine that make up a cocktail.
I just
Kenny, you look like you're just trying to stay.
Rum or
Kenny's
gin
just trying to
or
stay
what do you add
hydrated
to
in
coffee?
Mexico.
Yeah, I'm drinking
whiskey add to coffee.
E Pura. Got it.
Is that water in Spanish?
I don't know what it is. I think agua is water in Spanish, right? Yeah. You don't want to
The
drink the tap water
Morales.
here. Yeah, you don't want to drink.
Katie,
the
what's
tap
your
water.
drink during the game? I haven't
Bad
seen you
news.
drink. What is that cup? That's not a standard show cup. What are you doing?
No, well, first of all, I didn't get the memo on the red cup thing until you guys started saying that this morning. But I'm just drinking
Pre-game.
green tea, guys. Kind of lame.
Pre-game.
Tea. Oh.
Pre-game.
Well,
I know.
Green,
I finished
green
my-
tea shots
I
or green
was-
tea?
Just green tea. Super
I'm
antioxidant green
empty.
tea if you by Yogi.
I had a
This
little
was
You're
a mix
booster.
of
You know,
Red
Oh,
Bull.
look at
This was Red Bull, coffee, and whiskey in here, and it's all gone right now.
Oh,
That's
God.
how
Cafe
excited I am.
That
Patron.
broke your heart.
Cafe
So,
Patron
well,
has a
Red
little
Bull,
bit of
coffee,
extra.
and whiskey.
Well, he's got to go to
Woo!
Disneyland today, though, so he's got to pick himself up.
It's
You're gonna be,
Sunday
like,
game day,
sweating
guys. The greatest day of the
profusely
week.
out walking around Disneyland.
It's a great
It is
day.
the
We should all be
greatest
excited.
day of
Thank
the
you so
week.
much. Let's say goodbye to our cappers, our insiders. I hate to do this, but we must say to Katie Mox, who wants to give the final word. I'm sure she's going to say "Go Niners," right? Is that your final word today?
Go Niners.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah,
final
that
word.
Kenny bets big. Are you
Did
going
it-
to say something in
Viva la
Spanish to take us
Mexico.
out from Mexico?
Adios.
Adios, amigos.
That's all. Yeah, adios,
Amigos.
amigos. That's all I got in Spanish.
Thanks for hanging out,
he
guys.
passed
We will, of course,
Spanish
see you back here
101.
Bye,
next
guys.
week.
Good luck,
Yeah,
everybody.
bye-bye. Well,
All right.
Serena, here we are. It's almost kickoff time. What are you thinking now? We learned a lot today. What is the one thing you will take away from the past few hours we spent together?
That I need to add more Cafe Patron to this little solo Popeye. I have left this show with many questions around the poor Giants and Falcons. To be quite honest with you, I've been never more fascinated by the fact that 2 0-2 teams will get my full attention today. How about you, Kev?
Well, it's very rare that I get super excited about a 1 o'clock game, a 4 o'clock game, and an evening game, which is what we have today. So this is truly the worst time I could possibly be going to an amusement park. I will be
This is
searching for a sports bar. I will find myself wherever Mickey's sports bar is. I'll be sitting down. I'll be monitoring action on my phone, I'm sure, instead of enjoying the memories. But I'm very excited, and I think that you're seeing You're seeing an interest in betting that we've never seen before, and all the over-under bets are huge, but it makes me think that this is the week where the public gets screwed royally. So if you're hearing a lot of chatter about one thing, I'm just saying do the opposite. This is the week I say pull the Costanza, do the opposite. Whatever it is that you're hearing, do the opposite, and I think that you will make some money today, and that's what it's all about here.
Well, over under on how long you stand in a line at Disney is a different question for next week's show. Enjoy. I believe they have TVs in the bathrooms, Kev. So either way, appreciate you. Kevin Klein, Serena Morales, thank you. And please subscribe to the Game Day on YouTube. We are live every Monday and Thursday, an hour before kickoff on Instagram. And then, of course, every Sunday we'll be pre-gaming right here for you guys. We will see you next week. Enjoy Disney, football, and other.
And other. Cheers.
And other.